First story by Johnathan Harker. It was Valentine's Day 2019 in Ashwood, a town where the most exciting event was the annual pie baking contest. I, Johnathan Harker, had planned a simple evening with my girlfriend Lily. We decided to dine at the Old Oak, the town's oldest and most cherished restaurant. It was a quaint place, known for its rustic charm and the legend of being haunted, which we always laughed off. The evening began ordinarily. We shared stories, laughed, and enjoyed a hearty meal. However, as the night progressed, I couldn't shake off a peculiar feeling. I noticed a man in his late 40s sitting alone at a corner table, his eyes constantly darting toward us. His presence was unsettling, but I brushed it off as Valentine's Day loneliness. Leaving the restaurant, I realized we were being followed. The same man from the restaurant was trailing us, maintaining a discreet distance. I decided to confront him, but as I turned toward him, he vanished into the shadows. Feeling unnerved, we hurried home. Back at our apartment, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with questions about the mysterious man. In a spur-of-the-moment decision, I went back to the restaurant to find answers. The streets of Ashwood were eerily quiet. As I approached the Old Oak, I noticed something in the alley beside it. A faint glow emanating from an old, decrepit door I had never noticed before. Curiosity got the better of me, and I pushed the door open. Inside, I found myself in a small, dimly lit room filled with old photographs and newspaper clippings. My heart raced as I realized they were all about unsolved disappearances in Ashwood, dating back decades. The latest clipping was about a man who looked eerily similar to the stranger from the restaurant. I felt a chill run down my spine. The room felt like a shrine to these missing people. I heard footsteps behind me and turned to find the mysterious man standing in the doorway. His eyes were filled with a mix of sadness and madness. He spoke in a hoarse whisper. "They never leave Ashwood, neither will you." Panicking, I shoved past him and ran. I didn't stop until I reached home. The following day, I went to the police, but the door, the room, and the man were gone, as if they never existed. The police dismissed it as a Valentine's Day prank, but I know what I saw. I can't explain who the man was or why he showed me those things. Since that night, Lily and I avoid the Old Oak, and I can't help but feel eyes on me whenever I pass that alley. This experience has left me with more questions than answers, a haunting reminder that some mysteries in small towns are better left unsolved. That story sends shivers down my spine every time. But hold on, the next one is even more unsettling. Imagine finding terror in the city of love, Paris. Here's Emily Rosethorn's chilling account. Second story by Emily Rosethorn. It was February 14th, 2022, a Valentine's Day that promised romance in the enchanting city of Paris. I, Emily Rosethorn, was elated to spend this day with my partner Mark in a city renowned for its love stories. We had booked a charming boutique hotel in the heart of Paris, with a picturesque view of the Eiffel Tower. The city's vibrant energy and the romantic ambience seemed like the perfect setting for a memorable day. Our day was filled with the typical tourist activities, visiting the Louvre, strolling along the Seine, and enjoying exquisite French cuisine. As evening approached, we decided to take a walk through Montmartre, known for its artistic history and cobblestone streets. It was during this walk that things began to take an eerie turn. As we wandered, I noticed a figure in a tattered black cloak. He appeared aged, with a weathered face and deep-set eyes that seemed to fixate on us with unsettling intensity. Initially, I thought nothing of it, assuming he was just another local or perhaps a street artist. But as we moved through the winding streets, it became apparent that he was following us. Each time I looked back, there he was, always a few paces behind, his gaze never wavering. Trying not to alarm Mark, I suggested we head back to our hotel. As we walked, the figure seemed to draw closer, his footsteps echoing in the quiet streets. My heart pounded with a mix of fear and confusion. What did this man want? Reaching the hotel, I felt a temporary sense of relief. However, that night, I found sleep elusive. I lay in bed, replaying the events, trying to convince myself it was just a coincidence, or perhaps an overly zealous admirer of tourists. The real horror unfolded the next day. We decided to visit the catacombs of Paris, a place I had always found morbidly fascinating. The narrow underground tunnels, lined with the remains of millions, felt like stepping into another world. It was in the dimly lit corridors of the catacombs that I saw him again. The same man in the black coat, his presence even more menacing in the claustrophobic tunnels. My initial fear turned to panic. How did he find us here? Was he stalking us? I clung to Mark, whispering about the man. Mark, protective yet skeptical, confronted him, but the man simply stared, his eyes hollow, before vanishing into the labyrinth of bones. We hurriedly finished the tour, and I insisted on going straight to the police. They listened, but explained without more evidence there was little they could do. They suggested he might just be a harmless local eccentric. The remainder of our trip was overshadowed by paranoia. I saw shadows in every corner and jumped at every sound. The man never appeared again, but the fear he instilled lingered. We left Paris with a story vastly different from the romantic escapade we had envisioned. I often wonder who that man was and what drove him to follow us. Was he a ghost from the catacombs? A lost soul wandering the streets of Paris? Or just a disturbed individual? The mystery remains unsolved, a chilling reminder of the unseen dangers that can lurk even in the most beautiful of places. Emily's story from Paris was bone-chilling, wasn't it? But wait until you hear what happened to Alex Chen in San Francisco. His Valentine's Day turned into a spine-tingling suspense that will make your heart race. Let's dive in. Third story by Alex Chen. Valentine's Day 2023, San Francisco, a city where the mundane and the mysterious often intertwine, was about to show me its darker side. I, Alex Chen, had planned a special evening for my girlfriend Jenna. A scenic cruise around the bay, dinner at a renowned seafood restaurant, and a walk through the historic streets of Chinatown. It was supposed to be a night of celebration, marking not only Valentine's Day, but also our 3rd anniversary. The cruise was splendid, with the setting sun casting a golden glow over the Golden Gate Bridge. Jenna's laughter mingled with the sound of the waves, creating a perfect moment. Little did I know that this serenity was about to be shattered. As we disembarked and made our way to the restaurant, I noticed a peculiar figure, a man in a disheveled suit with unkempt hair and an erratic walk, seemed to be following us. At first, I dismissed it as city life. After all, San Francisco is known for its eccentric characters. But as the evening progressed, his presence became more intrusive. He was there, outside the restaurant, watching us through the window. His eyes, dark and unblinking, sent a shiver down my spine. Jenna noticed my discomfort and suggested we skip dessert to head home. I agreed, hoping to leave this unsettling figure behind. But he followed us, maintaining a discreet distance. Every time I looked back, he was there, his steps echoing ours. By the time we reached Chinatown, my sense of unease had turned into outright fear. The festive lanterns and lively streets did little to dispel the growing dread. In a desperate attempt to lose him, I grabbed Jenna's hand and darted into the maze of narrow alleys, the ones tourists seldom tread. We zigzagged through the labyrinth, but each turn brought us back to those haunting, unblinking eyes. Finally, cornered in an alley with no exit, I confronted him. "What do you want?" I demanded, my voice echoing off the walls. The man, silent until now, spoke in a raspy whisper. "You shouldn't be here." His words were cryptic, sending a chill through my body. He then turned and disappeared into the shadows as abruptly as he had appeared. We hurried home, constantly looking over our shoulders. The next day, I did some digging. I spoke to some locals and scoured online forums. What I found was a legend, a tale of a man who once lived in those alleys, a protector of Chinatown's hidden secrets. They say he appears to those who are not meant to be there, a guardian of the unseen boundaries of the old neighborhood. This experience has left an indelible mark on me. Valentine's Day in San Francisco, a day meant for love and joy, turned into a night of eerie encounters and unexplained mysteries. The man's words and his spectral presence continue to haunt me. Was he a ghost, a guardian spirit, or just a disturbed individual? I may never know. But one thing is certain: some areas of this vibrant city hold secrets that are best left undiscovered. The tale of Alex in San Francisco is one that lingers in your thoughts, doesn't it? Now let's travel to rural Australia with Sarah Jennings, where a natural phenomenon on Valentine's Day takes a turn into the realm of the inexplicable. Brace yourself for a story that blurs the line between reality and the unknown. Fourth story by Sarah Jennings. Valentine's Day 2021 was a day I will never forget. I'm Sarah Jennings, and at that time, I lived in a remote part of Australia, known for its wild beauty and rugged landscapes. My partner Tom and I had planned a quiet evening at home. We lived in a quaint farmhouse, surrounded by miles of wilderness, a perfect escape from the hustle of city life. As the day unfolded, the weather took a turn. A storm was brewing, unlike any I had seen before in this region. The sky darkened with ominous clouds and the wind howled like a chorus of unsettled spirits. Tom, a meteorologist by profession, was fascinated. He said this was a rare meteorological phenomenon, a convergence of various atmospheric conditions. I found it unnerving, the way nature could suddenly display such raw power. The storm hit its peak as night fell. We sat by the fireplace, the sounds of the storm a constant backdrop. It was then that the first strange occurrence happened. Our dog, a usually calm Labrador, started barking incessantly at the windows. When I looked outside, I saw nothing but the storm's fury. However, as the night progressed, the occurrences grew stronger. We heard noises, not the usual sounds of a storm, but something different. It was like whispers, a soft murmuring that seemed to come from all around the house. Tom dismissed it as the wind playing tricks, but I wasn't convinced. Then the power went out. Plunged into darkness. We scrambled for candles and flashlights. It was in this eerie candlelight that I saw it, a shadow, or what seemed like one, moving across the room. It was too quick to be real, yet too distinct to be my imagination. Feeling a mix of fear and curiosity, I decided to investigate. Armed with a flashlight, I opened the front door. The storm lashed out as if angry at my intrusion. I stepped out, the rain pelting against me, and that's when I saw them. Figures in the storm, human-like but ethereal, dancing in the chaos of the wind and rain. I stood there frozen, trying to comprehend what I was seeing. Were they a trick of the light? A creation of the storm? Or something else? They moved with a grace that was almost hypnotic, their forms blurred by the rain. Suddenly, Tom's voice brought me back to reality. He was calling me from inside the house, his voice laced with worry. I turned to go back, giving the storm one last glance. The figures were gone, as if they had never been there. We spent the rest of the night huddled together, waiting for the storm to pass. When morning came, the sun was shining, and the world seemed normal again. But the memory of that night stayed with me. I did some research and found tales of rain dancers, spirits of the land said to appear during the most violent of storms. Whether what I saw was a figment of my imagination, a natural phenomenon, or something more mystical, I cannot say. But that Valentine's Day revealed to me the mysteries and wonders that lie hidden in the heart of the Australian wilderness. A reminder that nature holds secrets beyond our understanding. Sarah's encounter in Australia is something straight out of a mystical tale, right? But now, prepare yourself for our final story. It comes from an anonymous source, and it's a tale of a secluded cabin, a Valentine's retreat, and a series of events that defy all explanation. This is one you won't want to miss. Fifth story by Anonymous. The frightening Valentine's Day story I'm about to share with you may seem a bit unrealistic. For privacy, let's just say my name is Chris and my partner's is Alex. We had decided to spend our Valentine's weekend at a secluded cabin in the Rocky Mountains. The idea was to escape the city's bustle for a quiet, romantic retreat surrounded by snow-covered peaks and the tranquility of nature. The cabin, an old but well-maintained structure, was nestled deep in the woods, miles away from the nearest town. It was picturesque, with a frozen lake nearby and forests that stretched as far as the eye could see. The first day passed peacefully, with us enjoying hikes and the cozy warmth of the cabin. However, as night fell on Valentine's Day, things started to feel off. It began with small, inexplicable occurrences, a feeling of being watched, shadows that seemed to flicker in the corner of our eyes, and the distant sound of footsteps crunching in the snow when we knew we were alone. We tried to brush these off as products of the isolation and the eerie silence of the woods, but as the night deepened, these occurrences grew more frequent and more unsettling. The temperature in the cabin dropped inexplicably, despite a roaring fire in the hearth. Our phones, which we had left charging, were found dead, though the power in the cabin was still on. Then came the most terrifying part of the night. We heard a knock at the door, slow, deliberate, as if someone or something was toying with us. Peering through the window, we saw no one, just the endless snow-covered wilderness. Alex wanted to open the door, thinking it might be a lost hiker or an animal. But something in my gut screamed that it was a bad idea. We retreated to the bedroom, trying to rationalize what was happening. That's when we heard it, a soft, whispering voice calling out from the living room. It was indistinct, a murmur that seemed like a distorted echo. I mustered the courage to check, only to find the room empty, the voice gone as quickly as it had come. The rest of the night was a blur of fear and confusion. We heard sounds, scratching at the windows, whispers, and a faint melody that seemed to come from the frozen lake. The cabin felt like it was alive, each creak and groan adding to our terror. When morning finally arrived, the cabin was peaceful again, as if the night's horrors were just a bad dream. We packed up and left, the relief of escaping that place almost overwhelming. On our way back, we stopped at a local diner. The waitress, upon hearing where we stayed, went pale. She told us a story about the cabin, how it was built on land that was sacred to the indigenous people, and how strange occurrences had been reported by others who stayed there. It was said to be a place where the veil between worlds was thin, a gateway for spirits and energies we couldn't understand. We left the mountains with more questions than answers. Was it all in our heads, a manifestation of isolation and fear? Or had we experienced something supernatural, a brush with the unknown? I still don't have the answers, but that Valentine's Day at the cabin remains the most terrifying experience of my life, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lie hidden in the world around us. Wow, what a collection of spine-tingling tales we've journeyed through tonight. From the shadowy streets of Paris to the mystical wilderness of Australia, each story has taken us deeper into the realm of the unexplainable. I hope you found these true horror stories as captivating and chilling as I did. Don't forget to check out the video recommended on your screen. It's one of my personal favorites and sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, stay safe and keep an eye out for the mysteries lurking just beyond the ordinary.